The humid Louisiana air hung heavy, thick with the scent of jasmine and the unspoken dread that had settled over Cypress Creek like a shroud. Evelyn Reed, a vibrant young woman with a smile as bright as the summer sun and a laugh that echoed through the Spanish moss-draped oaks, had vanished. It had been a week since anyone had seen her, a week of frantic phone calls, whispered rumors, and the gnawing silence of unanswered questions. Evelyn was the heart of Cypress Creek, a talented artist. She brought the Bayou's beauty to life on her canvases, her small gallery a splash of color in the town's otherwise muted landscape. She was deeply loved, a cherished daughter to Kate, a pillar of the community, and a fiercely loyal friend to Christopher, her childhood companion. The emotional hook was the sudden, inexplicable absence of this radiant soul, the silencing of her vibrant spirit in a place where everyone knew everyone, where disappearances were the stuff of local legends, not everyday realities. The initial hours were a whirlwind of panic searching. Kate, her face etched with raw terror no mother should ever know, organized search parties, her voice hoarse as she called Evelyn's name into the dense cypress swamps. Christopher, his usual easygoing demeanor replaced by a grim determination, retraced Evelyn's last known steps, clinging to a fragile hope of a dropped earring, a familiar scarf, any sign that she hadn't simply evaporated into the humid air. Sheriff Cyril Landry, a man whose weathered face reflected years of quiet authority, led the official investigation. But Cypress Creek was a place of winding waterways and hidden paths, and a lack of any concrete evidence. No witnesses, no forced entry, no dropped belongings, painted a frustratingly blank canvas. The suspense built with each passing day, the hope of a simple explanation fading with the setting sun, replaced by the chilling possibility of something far more sinister. The dramatic irony lay in the town's initial disbelief. Cypress Creek was safe, wasn't it? They knew their neighbors, their routines. The idea that one of their own could simply vanish, swallowed by the Bayou's mysteries, felt alien, a violation of their deeply held sense of security. Yet, the stark reality of Evelyn's absence chipped away at this comforting illusion, revealing the darkness that could lurk beneath the surface of even the most familiar places. As the days stretched into a week, a major power shift occurred. The local whispers turned into a roar of public concern, fueled by Kate's unwavering resolve and Christopher's increasingly desperate pleas for help. The national media descended upon Cypress Creek, their satellite trucks a jarring intrusion into the town's quiet rhythm. The disappearance of Evelyn Reed became a headline, a mystery gripping the nation, turning the small, isolated community into the unwilling center of a media storm. Agent Kennedy, a seasoned FBI investigator known for her sharp instincts and meticulous approach, arrived on the scene. Her presence signaled a shift in the investigation's scale and intensity, her team bringing with them resources and expertise that the local sheriff's department lacked. Agent Kennedy's interviews were precise, her questions probing beneath the surface of the townsfolk's grief and fear. Suspicion, like the creeping Spanish moss, began to weave its way through Cypress Creek. Whispers about old grudges, secret affairs, and long-held resentments surfaced, tarnishing the town's once pristine image. Christopher, haunted by the possibility that he might have missed a crucial sign, replayed every interaction with Evelyn, searching for a flicker of unease, a hidden message. Kate, fueled by a mother's fierce love, refused to believe her daughter had simply walked away, her intuition screaming that something terrible had happened. The investigation took a dark turn when a local fisherman, old Silas, reported finding something unusual snagged in his nets deep within the bayou, a small, intricately carved wooden bird, identical to one Evelyn always wore as a necklace, a gift from her late grandmother. The discovery sent a chill through the town. The bayou, once a source of beauty and sustenance, now a potential burial ground. The life lesson began to emerge. The fragility of life, the insidious nature of secrets, and the enduring power of hope in the face of unimaginable despair. The unwavering love of a mother, the steadfast loyalty of a friend. These were the anchors in the storm of uncertainty that had engulfed Cypress Creek. As Agent Kennedy's team focused their search in the area where Silas had found the necklace, Christopher, driven by a gut feeling, ventured off on his own. He knew Evelyn, knew her favorite hidden spots along the waterways, the quiet inlets where she found inspiration for her art. Following a barely discernible trail he and Evelyn had forged as children, he arrived at a secluded clearing, a place known only to them. And there, nestled beneath the roots of an ancient cypress tree, he saw it, a single, freshly turned patch of earth. The dramatic irony was complete. The answers they sought might have been hidden in plain sight. In the most familiar of places, a secret buried beneath the soil of their seemingly peaceful home. As Christopher knelt by the disturbed earth, a glint of metal caught his eye. A small, tarnished silver locket, the one he had given Evelyn on her 16th birthday. His heart pounded in his chest, a terrifying certainty gripping him. Just as he reached out to touch the locket, a voice, low and menacing, echoed from the shadows of surrounding trees. "Looking for something, Christopher?" The suspense hung heavy in the humid air. Who was lurking in the shadows? How did they know Christopher and Evelyn's secret place? And what fate had befallen the vibrant heart of Cypress Creek, now buried beneath the silent earth? The search for Evelyn had just taken a terrifyingly personal turn. Christopher's blood ran cold. The voice, a low growl that seemed to slither from the shadows, was chillingly familiar. It was Silas, the old fisherman, his eyes gleaming with a strange, predatory light in the deepening twilight. But Silas, the man Christopher had known all his life, the one who used to regale him with tales of the Bayou, was gone. In his place stood a stranger, a figure consumed by a darkness that mirrored the depths of the swamp itself. As Silas stepped closer, Christopher could see the tremor in his hands, the frantic gleam in his eyes. The man who had once been a jovial fisherman was now a creature consumed by a terrifying secret. The initial shock gave way to a chilling realization. Silas wasn't just a witness to Evelyn's disappearance. He was somehow involved. Silas raised a gnarled hand, his fingers clutching a rusty knife. "You shouldn't have come here, boy," he rasped, his voice rough with age and something else, something darker. Some things are best left buried. Christopher, despite the fear that threatened to paralyze him, reacted instinctively. He lunged at Silas, a desperate attempt to disarm him. The ensuing struggle was a blur of motion, the air thick with the scent of cypress and the metallic tang of fear. Christopher, fueled by adrenaline and the desperate need to protect Evelyn's memory, managed to wrest the knife away from Silas. Silas, his face contorted in a mask of rage, stumbled back. He was old, his body frail, but his eyes held a chilling determination. "You won't stop me," he hissed, his voice cracking. "She belongs to me." The chilling confession sent a jolt of fear through Christopher. Silas, the man who had once been a friend to his family, had become obsessed with Evelyn. The buried secrets, the whispers of Silas's eccentric behavior, now took on a sinister new meaning. As Silas reached for a crudely fashioned club lying at his feet, a gunshot echoed through the stillness. Silas slumped to the ground, a single red stain blooming on his shirt. Sheriff Landry, his face grim, stood at the edge of the clearing, his gun lowered. The dramatic irony was palpable. The man who was supposed to protect them, the symbol of law and order in Cypress Creek, had just taken a life. The weight of his actions, the realization of what he'd just done, seemed to crush him. He looked at Christopher, his eyes filled with a mixture of guilt and a chilling resolve. "He had to be stopped, son," he said, his voice hoarse. "He was going to hurt someone else." The discovery of Silas's involvement, however, raised more questions than it answered. Who was Silas working for? Who had orchestrated Evelyn's disappearance? The answers, Sheriff Landry knew, lay buried deeper in the murky underbelly of the Bayou, in a world he had only glimpsed on the fringes. The investigation took a sinister turn. The focus shifted from a missing person case to a possible kidnapping, or worse. Agent Kennedy, her suspicions confirmed, dug deeper into Silas's past, uncovering a trail of cryptic messages, hidden bank accounts, and connections to a shadowy organization known as the Bayou Hand. The Bayou Hand, according to local legend, was a secretive group rumored to be involved in illegal activities ranging from smuggling to human trafficking. Their influence was whispered about in hushed tones, their existence shrouded in mystery. Now, with Silas's involvement, the Bayou Hand had stepped out of the shadows, their presence a chilling reminder that the darkness lurking beneath the surface of Cypress Creek ran deeper than anyone could have imagined. As Agent Kennedy delved into the Bayou Hand's shadowy world, she discovered a pattern of disappearances, not just in Cypress Creek, but across the Louisiana Bayou. The victims, all young, all with a certain unique quality, a spark of creativity, a vibrant spirit, seemed to have been carefully selected. The fear that had gripped Cypress Creek now spread like wildfire, infecting the entire region. The idyllic bayou, once a source of solace and inspiration, now seemed to hold a sinister beauty, its secrets darker than anyone could have imagined. Then, a cryptic message arrived at Agent Kennedy's office, delivered by an anonymous source. It contained a single, chilling phrase: "The harvest is almost ready." The suspense hung heavy in the air. What harvest? What was being harvested? And who, or what, was behind this sinister organization? The answers, Agent Kennedy knew, lay hidden within the depths of the bayou. In a world where the lines between man and monster were blurred and the darkness always lurked just beneath the surface, the chilling message, "The harvest is almost ready," hung in the sterile air of Agent Kennedy's office, a digital specter of the darkness gripping the bayou. The term resonated with a primal unease, suggesting a ritualistic purpose far more sinister than simple abduction. The carefully constructed image of Cypress Creek, already fractured by Evelyn's disappearance and Silas's twisted involvement, threatened to shatter completely. Agent Kennedy's team intensified their investigation into the Bayou Hand, delving into local lore, historical records, and any whisper of their activities. They discovered that the group wasn't just a modern criminal enterprise. Their roots stretched back generations, intertwined with the bayou's deepest secrets and perhaps even its darker superstitions. The harvest, they theorized, might not be material, but something far more esoteric, connected to ancient beliefs and forgotten practices. Their search led them to a series of hidden locations scattered throughout the swamp: dilapidated shacks, forgotten burial grounds, and intricate networks of underground tunnels concealed beneath the murky waters. Each location yielded fragments of the Bayou Hand's activities, strange symbols carved into weathered wood, remnants of unsettling rituals, and further evidence of other young people who had vanished without a trace over the years. The power dynamic shifted once more, the focus moving beyond individual perpetrators to a larger, more insidious entity. The Bayou Hand wasn't just a group of criminals. They were a deeply entrenched organization, their influence woven into the fabric of the region's hidden history. Meanwhile, Christopher, reeling from the revelation of Silas's obsession, clung to hope that Evelyn was still alive. He joined Agent Kennedy's team, his intimate knowledge of the bayou proving invaluable in navigating its treacherous waterways and identifying potential hiding places. Kate, her grief a constant ache, found a fragile strength in the renewed efforts to find her daughter, her unwavering belief a beacon in the encroaching darkness. Their search culminated in the discovery of a secluded island deep within the swamp, a place shrouded in local legend and avoided by most. At its heart stood a crumbling plantation house, its decaying grandeur hinting at a long and troubled past. It was here, Agent Kennedy's instincts told her, that the answers lay. As they approached the island under the cover of a pre-dawn mist, the air grew heavy, charged with an almost palpable sense of dread. The sound of the bayou, the croaking of frogs, the rustling of leaves, seemed muted, replaced by an unnerving silence. Inside the dilapidated plantation house, they found a scene that confirmed their darkest fears. A large chamber, illuminated by flickering candlelight, was prepared for a ritual. Strange symbols adorned the walls, and in the center, bound and unconscious, lay Evelyn, along with several other young people who had vanished from the surrounding communities. The Bayou Hand, their faces hidden behind grotesque masks carved from cypress wood, were chanting in a low, guttural language. Their leader, a tall, imposing figure adorned with feathers and bone, stood before the captives, a ceremonial blade held aloft. The harvest was indeed about to begin, a sacrifice, a terrifying culmination of their twisted beliefs. A tense standoff ensued. Agent Kennedy and her team, along with Christopher, confronted the Bayou Hand, their weapons drawn against the cult's primitive but deadly implements. A fierce struggle erupted, the ancient house echoing with the sounds of desperation and defiance. Christopher, driven by a primal rage and love for Evelyn, fought his way through the masked figures, his focus solely on reaching her. He reached the altar just as the leader raised a blade. A desperate struggle ensued, Christopher's bare hands grappling with the cult leader's weapon. In the chaos, the dramatic irony reached its peak. The beauty and tranquility of the bayou, the very essence of Cypress Creek, had concealed this ancient darkness, this horrifying ritual that had been taking root for generations. The community's trust in their familiar world had been a dangerous blindness. Justice, in this instance, was not swift or clean. It was a brutal fight for survival, a desperate struggle against a deeply entrenched evil. In the end, the authorities prevailed. The Bayou Hand's ritual was thwarted and the captives were freed. The leader, his power broken, was apprehended, his mask ripped away to reveal a face as twisted as a soul. Evelyn, though traumatized, was alive, rescued from the precipice of a terrifying fate. The powerful life lesson resonated. Darkness can fester in the most beautiful of places, and true vigilance requires looking beyond the surface, questioning the familiar, and confronting the shadows that others might prefer to ignore. The light of justice, however, can penetrate even the deepest darkness, fueled by courage, love, and the unwavering determination to protect the innocent. The final scene showed Evelyn, surrounded by her loved ones, the vibrant light back in her eyes, though tinged with the memory of her ordeal. Christopher stood beside her, his hand gently resting on hers, the bond forged in childhood now tested and strengthened by fire. As they looked out at the tranquil waters of the bayou, a sense of peace settled over Cypress Creek, the immediate threat extinguished. But in the distance, a faint, almost imperceptible drumming echoed from the depths of the swamp, a rhythmic beat that seemed to pulse with an ancient, unsettling energy. Agent Kennedy, her gaze fixed on the dark, impenetrable cypress trees, felt a cold dread grip her heart. The Bayou Hand had been broken, but had they truly been eradicated? Or was this just one tendril of a larger, more ancient evil, its roots stretching deeper into Louisiana soil than anyone could possibly imagine? The harvest had been interrupted, but the whispers of the bayou suggested it might not be over. The end, for now,